From WBBZ-TV Sports, it's time to beat the champ. Now, here are your hosts, Paul Peck and Sue Novoitsky.
With Janelle Sabin and Hall of Fame bowler Sue Novoitsky, my name is Paul Peck, and welcome to Beat the Champ, our fourth and final week here in Fredonia at Lucky Lanes. It has been an interesting 3 weeks. It figures to get even more interesting today, Sue, because we have some of the best bowlers in Western New York ready to go for our doubles challenge.
I know. Let's see what kind of shenanigans these guys come up with, because I definitely think we're going to see some. I mean, it's a friendly competition, but you know, these guys are competitors when it comes down to it. You know they want to win.
They may all be friends, but they do want to win. We've got big names. There are big names. I won't even mention any of them. We'll wait till you see the matches, because every one of these has a big name bowler in it. She used the word shenanigans. That always worries me with you.
I know it does, and I'm ready for anything.
Okay, good. Good to know. Well, we've seen almost everything here at Lucky Lanes in Fredonia. Who knows what we'll see today? It's our doubles challenge, so let's get rolling.
I'm on Beat the Champ with our first doubles combination right here. Mike Falero, Tony Dolan. Mike, you said you'd be back, and you weren't kidding, were you?
No, thanks to Tony.
Well, you had a great performance. Everyone talked about that show, loved watching that show 4 weeks ago, and we'll be happy to see you back again. So you guys came down here just to bowl the doubles?
Yeah, yep. Tony asked me, I think, 2 days before, and I said, yeah, I'll let you know. Text him Saturday night and said, I'm in. So we came down, and thank God Tony bowled like 7:30, because if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be here. But hopefully I can redeem myself today.
All right, so you saw the lefty-righty thing. How you feeling about today?
It's all right. I like the look down here. Mike's throwing the ball good now, and we're all set.
Did you get your TV yet?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
All right, winner of our Dirt Cheap TV. All right, gentlemen, good luck. I know you guys are going to be tough. I'm here on Beat the Champ with our first match today, Brad Bixby, who we saw earlier. Mike D'Amico, who we've seen in a long time, but you are Mr. 300 here on Beat the Champ, are you not?
Yeah, I am. I am. It's been a while, though.
And no one has beat it, so you are still the only 300. So what's the strategy today against those two big shots over there?
Just bowl our game.
Bowl your game?
Yep.
All right, how about you? Ready to go?
Yep, ready. Try not to trip and fall over myself and see what happens.
I don't see that happening, but we certainly know scores can come out of you guys, so it's going to be a great match. Good luck and good bowling.
Thanks.
You want big names? We got them. Brad Bixby and Mike D'Amico on the right, Tony Dolan and Mike Falero on the left for match number one here of our doubles challenge. So Sue, explain to everybody what the format is going to be that we're going to see with these doubles teams.
So we've seen quite a bit on this fourth show, the Baker format, and this is what we're going to use here. But it means that they both have to fire on all cylinders. Just one of them bowling good and the other one not isn't going to work, because we've got the first bowler bowl in the first frame, second bowler bowl in the second frame, first bowler bowl in the third frame, so they're going to alternate.
So Mike Falero, he and his teammate Tony Dolan will get things started here, and Mike Falero begins with a strike.
Well, we saw Mike a month ago up against John Masiello having that great finals match, and came down to, I think he shot 240 and lost. And so we know what he's capable of.
Yeah, and of course Mike Falero is one of the all-time great bowlers here, Hall of Fame bowler in West New York. This is Mike D'Amico, he and his teammate Brad Bixby. And Mike D'Amico leaves a couple of pins there. If you're a fan of Beat the Champ over the last 2+ years, you know Mike D'Amico is Mr. 300.
That's right.
The only bowler to throw a perfect game on Beat the Champ in the 2+ years that we have been back on TV is this guy, Mike D'Amico. And he'll get his team off to a start by leaving one pin there. So now we'll turn it over to Brad Bixby, affectionately known as Mr. Fredonia, because he has been on the show 3 times. All 3 times we have been here at Lucky Lanes in Fredonia. He bowls here, he grew up here, he worked here. He knows this place inside now. So Brad Bixby in the second frame, already with a little work to do. And he gets the job done with a strike.
Nice shot.
So again, we'll alternate back and forth, so which means in the second frame we get our first look at Tony Dolan, one of the all-time greats here in Western New York and a highly successful bowler here on our show, Beat the Champ. Haven't seen Tony in a little while.
Oh, good shot. Don't let the red shirt fool you. He's on the team with Mike Valero.
Yeah, that's true. Those guys, they did not coordinate.
No.
I thought that's part of your responsibilities to make sure everybody's got the right
through the cracks.
shirts.
I did make Mike's shirt. I think I'm responsible for 3 shirts on the show today.
And it's a spare in the second frame for the Dolan and Valero team. There's our Twitter address at BeatTheChampTV, hashtag BeatTheChamp to keep up on all the latest goings on. And of course, like us on the Facebook page for all of the information about next week's series of shows that will take us to the Jamestown Bowling Company. You'll be able to see the lineup of bowlers that will challenge our returning champion,
Beautiful.
Steve Dorbiala.
So you see Mike controlling that drive pretty well. He's in pretty deep. He's covering a whole lot of areas, bringing that ball back a long way. And so far it's been good for striking, but we'll have to watch that. There we go.
And there you go. There's Mike D'Amico with doing what we know he can do with the strike. So the pins are flying here early on. Now, the winner of this match will take on the winner of our next match. As you check out Janelle Sabin and the Castellone Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram scoreboard, match number 2 will be the Pullman brothers, Jeff and Joe, versus Andy Reddig and Mike Zarcone. And then the winners of those 2 matches will compete for our Doubles Challenge Championship. I'm sure Paul Nosek from here at Lucky Lanes in Fredonia has a nice prize ready for those guys that win the Doubles Challenge.
This feels like a good time to take a short break. We'll be right back with more action on Beat the Champ.
Welcome our new Beat the Champ sponsor, Owl Homes of Fredonia, Western New York's leading builder of modular and manufactured homes. Call 673-1366 and online at owlhomeswny.com.
Welcome back to Beat the Champ. Let's get back to the action here on WBBZ-TV.
So Mike Valero eyes things up here in the 5th frame.
Nice shot.
That tricky 10-pin, that has been a recurring story over the last month here in Lucky Lanes in Fredonia. Those, for the right-handers, that 10-pin has been a challenge. So how did we get to the point of having these 4 loaded all-star teams battling it out here?
Well, they were able to pick their own doubles partners, so it wasn't a matter of people getting matched up together. These were doubles partners that actually chose to bowl with each other and just competed. 35 entries competed against each other, and these were the top 4 out of the 35.
35 entries, boy, that's great. That's
right.
a big
That's
number.
70 bowlers, and that's competing just for the 4th show. I think that's an excellent turnout. It was an excellent idea. Because to me, Baker is the ultimate team competition because you can't have anyone, somebody's not going to pick another bowler up. I mean, you got to hold your own.
So it was back, you just got to look at Mike D'Amico. It was back in April of 2017 at Manor 2 that Mike D'Amico threw that first 300 perfect game in the return of Beat the Champ history. And I'm still, you and I have talked about this, amazed at the fact that there's only been the one so far. As good as these bowlers are on a weekly basis and as high level a bowler as we always get, to have only one perfect game and to have Mike D'Amico be the only guy to throw it is still pretty amazing.
It is, and it's just almost a whole year ago, just a little bit short of a year.
And even more interesting about when Mike D'Amico threw that 300 game, that ended a 6-match winning streak for Tyler Molina with the 300 game that won. And Tyler's had a couple of our longer, matter of fact, he's had 2 6-game winning streaks, including one right here at Lucky Lanes in Fredonia back in 2017. So here here's Tony eyeing things up in the 7th frame. Ooh, and he misses the 2-pin spare. Correction, 6th frame, so that's a 6th frame open for the Falero and Dolan team.
Tony's a little TV rusty. He hasn't been out here enough.
It's been a while, yeah. It's been a while since we, and boy, in the first year or so, felt like Tony was on the show almost every week.
Right.
And I know Tony always has one of those occupations as a business owner where he's much busier in the summertime and a little less busy in the winter. So we tend to see Tony in the late months of a year and early beginning of a new year, but we didn't get much of the chance to see him.
Well, he did win the TV this month, so he was definitely took advantage of.
Not for lack of trying.
Beat the champ, yeah.
Not for lack of trying, just a lot of good bowlers. All right, so a little door opener here for the Bixby D'Amico team. After that open and spare, these guys are working on 5 strikes in a row after they went open in the 1st frame. And that's all right in front of you there on the Castellone scoreboard.
Wow.
6 in a row. And of course, I mentioned that we're moving on to Jamestown for next week's show for a month, and qualifying already taken care of down there. We've got our lineup of bowlers ready to go. Of course, top qualifier every month here on Beat the Champ wins a television valued at $500 from Dirt Cheap TV. That's the top qualifier in the round of 24. And it was Tony Dolan here at Lucky Lanes who won the TV for last month. And of course, keep up on top of the Facebook page for all of the details about next month's qualifying after we're done at Jamestown for the next event if you want to be a part of Beat the Champ. So Brad Bixby will look to pull the spare here in the 8th frame as that strike run came to an end at 6 for the Bixby D'Amico team. Mr. Fredonia and Mr. 300. And now Mr. Steady, Tony Dolan.
There's a much anticipated strike, so we're looking at them having to strike out to post up a 186. I'm sorry, a 216. So it's pretty close to being over, but you got to put as much pressure on him as you can.
So we'll see if Mike Falero can do that. Yeah, just can't get that pesky 4-pin this time to go down.
So Brad and Mike will be moving on.
All right, so the team of Bixby and D'Amico, at least in Brad's case, the hometown guy from here in Fredonia, going to get a chance to bowl for the championship. Of course, our next match coming up, as I mentioned, will be the Pullman brothers versus Andy Reddig and Mike Zarcone. Mike Falero with the 9th frame spare, and Mike D'Amico, along with his teammate Brad Bixby, win match number 1. They'll move on. Sue and I will return and get you ready for match number 2 when we continue our doubles challenge from here at Lucky Lanes in Fredonia. It's Bixby and D'Amico with the 221-196 win over the team of Falero and Dolan. Tony, what's the challenge in bowling doubles like this? How much different is it than a regular event that you're normally in?
It's a little more stressful because you really don't want to let your partner down. You want to make those good shots and turn them into strikes and get your strings going, and just you don't want to be the one that screws it all up. It's just simple way.
He wasn't the one that screwed it all up, was he?
No, not at all. No, not at all. You both great. You know, carry was a factor. I mean, you know, there's a large amount of oil in the middle of the lane, which makes it tough to get the ball to get through the pins the right way to strike. And we both had the issue. you know, Tony's as steady a guy as you're ever going to want to meet. Great bowler, and this was a great event, a lot of fun. Thanks to Lucky Lanes and Paul for putting this on, the doubles, and I hope other places involved with Beat the Champ get involved with the doubles and in different formats like that, because it's a lot of fun to see the different aspects of our game.
Yeah, and it's good to see two great bowlers like yourself bowling together. This place has challenged everybody for the last month or so why not any different these guys, right, Paul?
Yeah, but we got a great group of guys bowling in the finals here. It's going to be fun to watch.
All right, so we got our next match to set up who's going to take on Bixby and D'Amico in our finals. That's next on Beat the Champ.
I'm here on Beat the Champ with both Pullman brothers, not just one or the other, which is what we usually get. Okay, so I'm going to go to you first because somebody told me in his interview that he was going to be the higher scorer today. What do you think?
No, I don't think so. I think we're going to, it's going to be pretty evenly matched. We're going to have fun, though. That's definitely for sure. And we're here because of him, so I think I'll try to keep up.
I didn't see Mom here today. Where is she?
She's probably home doing some work, and we'll be at bowling later today, so it's tough.
Okay, I think what it is she didn't want any more pictures taken of herself.
Yeah, the Sandy flop isn't going to come out today, so we hope to be victorious, throw some strikes, have some fun out there with Mike and Andy. We're looking forward to it.
Okay, well, good luck to both of you. I'm on Beat the Champ today with the men in blue, our doubles team of Mike Zarcone and Andy Reddick, who we have seen get a little bit of an idea of what was happening on these lanes already today. Who's anchoring and who's starting?
We're going to wait to practice and see. So we'll give Mike his choice, I think.
All right, yet to be determined. What do you think?
Yeah, we'll see. Obviously, it's been a little while since I've been on the lane, so we'll see a few practice shots and we'll see what happens.
All right, well, good luck to you. You know, the final match ended up lefty over righty, so keep that in mind. That right side looks like it's got a little tough, Mike, so.
Yes, it does. So we're going to give it a whirl.
All right, well, we look forward to it. Good luck, you guys.
Match number 2 of our doubles challenge. It's the Pullman brothers in black on the left, Andy Reddick and Mike Zarcone teaming up in the blue on the right. So the winner of this match will take on the Bixby D'Amico team for our doubles challenge championship. So here we go with Jeff and Joe Pullman. To start things off, we keep, both of these guys have been very consistent, steady Beat the Champ bowlers. I keep waiting for the chance when we might get the two of them to go against each other, but here they're teaming up.
Might have seen 1 or 2 or 10 of these.
I would say this is about the 10,000th time these guys have bowled together, right?
No, I meant the 10 pin.
Oh, you're looking at the 10 pin. I'm looking at the brothers here playing.
Well,
so.
I have a prediction. I bet that the team that wins, the team in the khaki pants wins.
Oh, look at you going out on a limb there. All right, so Joe Pullman gets it started with a spare, and of course we're working the Baker format here, so that means alternating frames. So Joe goes in frame number 1, he'll go in 3 and 5 and 7 and 9, and then Andy Reddick is going to start things off here in frame number 1 for the Reddick Kazar. I'm really disappointed that Mike didn't have Matt Zazowski so we could have the ZZ Tap team going here.
Oh, that's true. Look at that.
Yep. A sticky corner pin, huh?
Sticky corner pin.
I think Paul Nosek, the owner here at Lucky Lanes, had a surplus amount of glue that he couldn't get rid of, so he tapped a little on the bottom of those corner pins.
One way to keep the scores down.
Yeah, no kidding. So Andy Reddick, who we saw win a match a couple of weeks ago right here at Lucky Lanes. Matter of fact, Mike and Andy wound up winning matches, and if I'm not mistaken, didn't Andy beat Mike? Yes, he did. Andy beat Mike in the third match of our first show 3 weeks ago. Beat him 238 to 160. So after going against each other, now they're teaming up, which will be much more pleasant. And Mike Zarcone gets the first strike of our match. Well, Mike had to get that 160 taste out of his mouth from that match. We know that is not normally the kind of scores that Mike Zarcone puts on the board. And here's Jeff Pullman. We saw Jeff as well just last week when he was a victim to Josh Nowak in a loss. No, this time it's the 4-pin that won't go down.
Well, I really like his strategy. I think that the key to carrying consistently, if there is such a thing as consistently on this, is to hit the pocket high flush, straight up the boards. Anybody who's gone away, even someone like Mike Valero, who's very talented, he went away and knew that eventually that 10-pin was going to rear its ugly head, because you're just usurping too much energy on the bowling ball, going away and coming back.
So Jeff Pullman completes the spare. So you heard Tony Dolan at the end in our interview say that, you know, it's fun to bowl in, but a lot of pressure to bowl in a doubles because you don't want to let your other partner down. Now, I want you to talk about that because you've bowled in a lot of doubles as well too, but how about the part of guys that, you know, are rivals and tend to go against each other a lot? And then we all know these guys are friends, and we know they're all friendly rivals. But teaming up together, that might be a little dynamic. You know, maybe Mike Zarcone's a little angry about that, getting beat by Andy a couple weeks ago.
Well, they were already doubles partners when that happened. But since you're picking your own,
true.
You know,
because that doesn't always happen.
No, but like most of the doubles that we'll bowl will be in events that include a team event, a doubles event, and a singles event. So with that, you will bowl doubles with someone of your choice.
So there really are not many occasions where you get put with a doubles partner.
You don't get matched up,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Very few tournaments where you bowl singles ahead of time and then they place you as somebody. Very, you know.
That's interesting too, right?
It has been done and the PBA has done it with the seniors and the regular touring players where they bowl their individual tournaments and then one gets matched up with one and two gets matched up with two and three gets matched up with three.
See, not that we're ever lacking any ideas for our fun fourth show here, but that could be an interesting show where we take the guys who bowled the first 3 weeks and figure out a way to team some of them up for the fourth show. That might create an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, like all the winners on one side and all the losers on the other side or something like that.
Yeah, that could work as well too. All right, so now Andy Reddick has left himself in difficult challenge here. What are we looking at, is that a 6-7 split?
Yeah, or you could take your most winningest bowler, that's like a
or put the high score versus the low, put the highs.
And put them with and just bring them back. You know, you have all the statistics.
Right.
And just match them up like top to bottom. Say you have the top, take the top. We need, we need 8 bowlers.
Right. Not, yeah, 8
So
bowlers.
1 and 8 get matched up, 2 and 7
Right.
get matched up, something like that.
Well, we need 10 bowlers, but yes, you're right. 10. Well, normally we have 10 bowlers on every show. So, well, how about this? How about another idea while we're spitballing ideas here? How about we take at the end of the year our most successful bowlers of the year and turn it into a stepladder final for the Beat the Champ Bowler of the Year, huh?
Well, I've been a big proponent of that.
We're going to be back with more Beat the Champ bowling action in just a minute. Welcome back to Beat the Champ.
I alluded in the interview to their mom not being here, and they said no Sandy Flop today.
That's what got us talking about it, was Sandy Pullman, that's right. And once again, I think Mike Zarcone can't wait to get on his car, pay the toll, and get the heck back on the thruway going north to get out of Fredonia.
I think
and that's
he's
nothing
revisiting
personal.
whether he wants to bowl league here or not.
Yes. It has not been a fun stay here in Fredonia for Mr. Zarcone, and there are very few bowling houses in Western New York that he can say that about. He has struggled to find a groove that normally Mike Zarcone is always in.
Well, this is an opening here for the Pullmans, and we know that I think Jeff has left a 4-pin every time on this shot, on this lane, so we know that we're going to see an adjustment here, and hopefully not an over-adjustment.
Yeah, this time it's the 7.
It was a good adjustment. Such a big shot, though. That puts them ahead if he can just carry one of these.
Yeah, I think it's great, and you can see that Jeff is talking to his brother Joe. Probably, hey, what should I do? Looking for some tips, looking for advice. Boy, you talk about a pair of guys who can speak the language and have done it an awful lot of their lives and helped make each other better. All right, so this one's tight. Coming down to the end here, the Pullmans versus Redig and Zarcone for the right to take on Bixby and D'Amico for our Doubles Challenge Championship. This is a critical one here for Joe Pullman in the 9th frame.
Good one. That's a good one to have.
2 strikes in a row for Joe in frames number 7 and 9. So now Andy Redig, this team has gone spare 3 in a row now, as you can see on the Castellone Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram scoreboard. A couple of strikes to finish things out here would be welcome. The lefty, Andy Redig from Hamburg. Again, not the first time we've seen him do that.
No.
At some point, Andy's going to just run down the lane and take that 7 pin and throw it against something.
So even though Andy and Mike have had the lead, although by very few pins throughout the course of this match, because of that strike in the 9th frame, the Pullmans can actually shut them out.
That doesn't help either.
No, that does not help.
So does it matter what Mike does here in frame 10?
Yep. We still need a mark here. Actually, a strike here will seal it. Oh, I'm sorry, Mike's up. He's going to have to strike out.
Well, there's one. Again,
we've seen him 2-8 and 2-8, so that shows what a good adjustment that was.
Strategy at play when you decide who amongst your teammates goes first is kind of like the anchor leg. You want to have Mike Zarcone with the 10th frame, right?
Yeah, well, they decided that ahead of time who they wanted to have the 10th frame. Absolutely.
Second shot now of the 10th frame for Mike Zarcone. Needs to keep striking to put more pressure on the Pullman brothers for their 10th frame shot. That's going to belong to Jeff. He'll get the shots in the 10th. Oh, and boy, you could see the reaction from Mike. He knew he needed that 10 pin.
And that was a great shot. That carries and it forces the Pullmans to have to double, and he knew that Jeff was not striking, that he was having trouble getting a strike on that right lane, so he knew that was giving him a solid chance. So now Jeff needs a spare.
So Jeff needs a spare, and that will send the Pullmans to our championship game as things are wrapped up here for the Redig and Zarcone team. So that's what's at stake here now for Jeff Pullman. Needs a spare here in the 10th frame. It's a 173 on the board for Mike and Andy. Needs a spare, gets a strike.
Wow.
And that will clinch the victory for Jeff and Joe Pullman. They'll advance on to our championship. So it's the Pullmans against Brad Bixby and Mike D'Amico. It'll be our championship game of the Doubles Challenge here at Lucky Lanes in Fredonia. Before we get to that, we'll check in with Andy and Mike, get their take on what went down, and then we'll get rolling for our title game. It is the Doubles Challenge Championship here in Fredonia. This is Beat the Champ. 189 to 173, our final score as the Pullman brothers advance to our championship. Andy, much like it was for you a couple of weeks ago, this place was not easy for anybody to figure out.
Not meant to be today, and then missing spares, you just can't do that in a short match. So.
Well, you like the challenge of bowling in a doubles event like this?
I love it. It was a lot of fun, good idea, and thanks, Paul, for running it.
Yeah. I will allow you to give me a one-word answer if it means you can just get the heck out of this place, because it was a tough month here for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I still enjoy it. It's great. It's great fun bowling, so we'll be back.
How much do you enjoy bowling with Andy?
Awesome. He's my Saturday partner, and he's great.
Yeah, all right. Well, it didn't go the way these guys wanted to, but I know they put a lot of big scores on the board. Paul?
Well, congratulations anyway. Here's a little cash for you guys.
I wasn't going to shake your hand.
Yeah, no, he just knows.
I know. It was a little tougher for these guys than it normally is. We've seen both of these guys bowl a lot better. Let's see what happens. It's our championship match. It's coming up next. So here's our final, Mr. Pullman and Mr. Pullman versus Mr. Fredonia and Mr. 300, Brad Bixby and Mike D'Amico against Jeff and Joe Pullman for our Doubles Challenge Championship here at Lucky Lanes in Fredonia. This should be a good match, and Joe Pullman is going to get things started off for the Pullman brothers team that just came up with that win over Andy Reddig and Mike Zarcone. And that's a great start for Joe Pullman. We have had a lot of mileage on both of these lanes as we wrap up this month-long stay here. And these lanes have been tricky and hard to read from the very beginning. So this is not going to be easy for these guys.
I'm actually kind of a bit surprised that they didn't change their strategy. Although they did move lanes. They are bowling on the left lane now. Nope, it's the same, and switch them up and put Joe, since Joe was striking, let Joe finish. So we'll see if their strategy holds up to leave it the same.
So here's Brad Bixby after the strike by his teammate Mike D'Amico. We call Brad Mr. Fredonia because he has been on our Beat the Champ show 3 times, all of them here at the place that he grew up in, which is Lucky Lanes here in Fredonia.
Great shot there.
So, boy, after a tough couple of matches, these guys are ripping the pins down now. Maybe a little championship on the line gets everybody inspired. So let's see if it continues here. We've had pretty low scores here, surprisingly low scores for this level of competition just throughout the whole month-long stay here. You know, and like I said, the last match was a 189 to 173 win. So let's see if we get a couple of good 230, 240 scores here. And
great job.
We're off to that kind of start with strikes across the board.
Great job. That was a great adjustment by Jeff, who was struggling a little bit with that 4-pin. And good to see.
All right, so now we'll see if this run can continue of strikes. Remember, we're in the Baker format here, so we're alternating shots for each team. There you go. We're perfect so far. Not sure that Joe loved that one when he first threw it, but it got the results, great. And yeah, it got the results that he needed. So, all right. So now Mike D'Amico, who was the only guy to throw a perfect 300 game on Beat the Champ in the last 3 years. Oh, he saved himself from a pretty difficult split, and he'll have to try to pick up the 10-pin.
Well, believe me, these lanes absolutely show when you make a bad shot, so that could not have been a bad shot that Joe threw over there on lane 7, because these lanes have not been forgiving to anybody today.
No breaks. These lanes have given us no breaks. There's your Castellone Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram scoreboard early in this match. That's a tough break there for Mike D'Amico, trying to get that single pin. Got it too close to the gutter, and it's going to be an open frame in the 3rd for the Bixby D'Amico team. And now Brad, who was our top qualifier after the roll-off going into this month's series of shows here, wound up competing in the first match and losing right off the bat to Jason Shuby, our returning champion. Back to strikes.
Great shot.
Let's see if the Pullman boys can keep it going. perfect through the first 3. Frame number 4. Oh, once again, briefly, difficult looking spare. Little pin action gets at least the 10 pin still up. So we look at a bit of an exchange here of, after strikes across the board, you have the open in the 3rd for Brad and Mike, and now spare possibility in the 4th. Next week, Beat the Champ moves to the Jamestown Bowling Company for a 1-month stay, 3 weeks of competition, and 1 special show down in Jamestown. We've got all of our bowlers lined up. We know Steve Dorbiala is our returning champ from here in Fredonia. He'll head to Jamestown to face a whole new group of bowlers, and we'll see what kind of magic we can get out of the gang down there in Jamestown. We've had some great bowling in Jamestown and our other stops there over the last 3 years. Jim, me, and the guys down there in Jamestown do a nice job. We're looking forward to a month-long stay. I'm looking forward to not having to white knuckle our drive down and
right.
The crisscrossing pins there for Joe Pullman gets him the strike in the 5th frame. So a little pressure now on the Bixby D'Amico team after that open frame, and Mike D'Amico, who knows how to strike, is going to have to throw a few of them up there himself. Here we go in the 5th frame. 4-pin.
Well, that 4-pin and 10-pin are not discriminating. They're
No, they are not. They are not. We don't care who is throwing it. We are not going down.
The action will continue on Beat the Champ in just a minute. Welcome back to Beat the Champ.
Nor should they, but those things were built, what are they, about 8 to 10 feet thick, almost all of them. Those things aren't going anywhere. Nice little bump there that gets Joe Pullman a strike. So now really putting the pressure on Mike and Brad. Big answer in the 7th frame for Mike D'Amico.
That's bowling for you. If you look at the score sheet, Brad has struck on every of the shots except for the last one, and Mike hasn't struck on any of them until this one, and they can't put it together.
Well, that's both the benefit and the curse of being in a doubles in a team is either both guys could be hot, neither guy could be hot, or one guy could be hot.
Right. Very nice.
And that string, so that's perfect. Brad's perfect through his frames, correct?
No, the last one in the 6th, he...
Oh, that's right, he had the spare in the 6th, right. And it's been a good run for Jeff as well, too. And he'll look to get going, keep it going here in the 8th frame. Nice strike. Oh, cheering on from his brother Joe helped make that happen as well, too. So now Joe Pullman slides over to lane 7 for frame 9. There's the updated Castellone Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram scoreboard. It almost hit 2 straight on, didn't it? There wasn't a lot of movement there.
He's definitely trying to hit high flush, and that one just went a little too high flush. Just a little bit off, a little bit inside of his target.
All right, so a critical 9th frame spare pickup here for Joe Pullman. And he got it.
So right now the Pullmans are pacing 228. So pacing means no doubles.
Okay.
Brad Mike can still go off the sheet for 235. So they still have a chance, but they have to continue to strike.
And Mike D'Amico answers in his final ball. So he gets to strike in the 9th, and now it's up to Brad to try to put this one as a win on the board.
Well, they can't shut them out, but they certainly can make them strike out.
Mm-hmm. All right, so it's Brad Bixby in the 10th frame here, needing to put some strikes on the board to really put the pressure on the Pullman brothers. Big one right there for Brad Bixby. He is struck in every frame except one as he alternates with his teammate Mike D'Amico.
So this is the big ball right here. If he doesn't strike here, all the Pullmans need is a good count, a spare, and good count. If he strikes here, the Pullmans are going to need to strike.
Key shot. A lot of pressure right now on Brad Bixby. A lot of hometown bragging rights. And a big strike for Brad.
Great shot. Great shot.
Everybody was quiet after that one. They wanted to see what was going to happen. And now everybody's having a little fun. You can hear the crowd behind us buzzing after a big strike by the Fredonia guy, Brad Bixby.
Well, now Jeff has to double. There's no two ways about it.
So the pressure has spun right over to the Pullman brothers. Final throw here for Bixby D'Amico to post up their final score. Ooh, just didn't get the collision that he was looking for, but nonetheless, it's an impressive performance and a nice score put on the board by the team of Brad and Mike, a 234. Is it going to be good enough?
All Joe can do is sit and watch. Watch his brother bowl.
He needs a double.
First one.
Oh! 10 pin will not go down. And we have a doubles challenge championship team of Brad Bixby and Mike D'Amico. Just that close to being in position to get another one. So
And they overcame a 24-pin deficit. They were down 24 pins in the 6th frame.
Wow, that's a really impressive comeback here for Mike and for Brad. And again, the local guys get to celebrate a little championship here, and we'll get a chance to do that with them. We'll let Joe or Jeff throw out here for the final time and post up the final score, but it's going to be a narrow victory for Brad and Mike over Jeff and Joe. And handshakes across the board, and it's a victory for Brad and for Mike. We'll come back and talk to all 4 guys about this big win and crown a doubles challenge champion when Sue and I return to Lucky Lanes in Fredonia. We're back right after this. We have a doubles challenge championship team of Brad Bixby and Mike D'Amico. 234, 227 was our final score, right down to the end for the Pullman brothers to bring another trophy into the Pullman household. Pretty close, pretty tight, wasn't it, Joe?
Yeah, we gave them a good match, I think. We threw good shots the whole game, and they just threw that 5-bagger in the end of that game, and that's what did it for them. That was clutch bowling, I'll tell you.
Yeah, and right down there at the end, it's not the first time that those corner pins just wouldn't go down for you.
That's it.
you know, that's what we're here for, is just to put some pressure on ourselves, bowl against some great talent, and we're happy to come out here and bowl the best in Fredonia.
All right.
We did.
Well, they are the best in Fredonia, Sue, aren't they?
Yep. Overcome a 24-pin deficit you had in the sixth frame. You pulled it together there. It looked like you were struggling a little bit, and then you came through with those strikes at the end. What'd you change?
Somebody said throw the ball.
Oh, no one told you that before you started?
Apparently I was throwing it soft, so she reminded me to throw it like I should be. And
okay, well, it did work out, and congratulations, you guys won.
All right, so we've got champions. Paul, this was a good show, and these guys put a pretty good show on here, didn't they? So.
Yes, they did. It was a great finals. It was great to watch, and some clutch bowling at the end. Nice job, guys.
All right. All right. Well, Paul's got a little money for everybody.
Thank you, guys. Congratulations, and thank you for bowling.
Maybe he'll dig up an old trophy out of the. Maybe dig up an old trophy out of the storeroom to give to these guys too a little bit. Maybe we'll find one for these guys. What a great event this was. A lot of fun to watch some of the best bowlers in town battle it out for this doubles championship. Sue and I and Janelle will come back and wrap up our month-long stay in Fredonia when we return on Beat the Champ. Well, much like this series of doubles challenges, this whole month here at Fredonia gave us a lot of unexpected things and some neat comebacks, but this was an entertaining stay here in Fredonia, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was entertaining, and I never thought I'd see that many corner pins in a month. It was like everything that could happen did.
Yeah, well, we can only hope that it'll be quite this entertaining. I'm sure the bowlers would hope it'll be less entertaining when we move on to Jamestown, which is where we'll be next week with our returning champion, Steve Dorbiala. This was fun, if not a little stressful for everybody, wasn't it?
I wouldn't say well, it wasn't stressful for me,
Not
maybe
for
for
you.
the bowlers.
I think everybody else it was, but
yeah, no, it was a great time and it was wonderful.
All right, so we're off to Jamestown. Make sure you join us starting next week for another month stay down in the Southern Tier. We thank you for joining us for the last month here in Fredonia. You have been watching Beat the Champ.